So Libs of TikTok came out with this fake story last year. And I personally thought Americans are really stupid. But are they that stupid that they would legitimately believe that, you know, there are litter boxes for schools for kids who identify as furries? No way. Turns out Americans are that stupid. Let's take a look at Joe Rogan and what he had to say.
There's kids. Ready for this? My friend, his wife, is a school teacher.
Buddy of mine coming in hot, coming in clutch. Joe Rogan, befriender of all. Big buddy guy. Get ready for a friend of mine's story.
Works at a school that had to install a litter box in the girls' room because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal, and her mother badgered.
There was a time and place where we used to make fun of idiots like this. Why is it now that like the most unhinged you get, the more unhinged you get, the more believable you are? What happened? This is quite literally an email chain. For all the boomers in the chat, this is like email chain stories that these guys are basically repeating on independent media now. Like, what the fuck? How does an online forum like 4chan and shit get this kind of prominence in mainstream media? God damn it, dude. We are not capable of handling Facebook and social media in general. We are so bad.
The school until they agreed to put a litter box in one of the stalls. So this girl goes into the litter room or to the girls' room and urinates or whatever. I don't know if she poops in it. That's pretty gross. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. How is this how are people saying this is a real story? I want to fucking kiss myself, okay? I want to kiss myself when I see fuckers with this level of prominence, with this level of influence, repeating such fucking stupid, idiotic, completely false bullshit stories. Oh my God.
Like, if you could teach your cat, by the way, here's the thing. If you could teach your cat to use the toilet, you would. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a box of piss in your house. It's the worst. I've had cats my whole life. It's the worst thing about having cats. You got to clean that box of piss every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's the greatest thing about dogs. They go outside. Like, you're a
the
human.
cat's got their humans trained.
Imagine how crazy that is. You're a human being and you prefer a litter box. You want to piss into a pile of sand rather than use a bathroom that you could flush the toilet, wipe yourself like a normal person. Like, you're so crazy with what you think an animal is that not only have you said this, but you've conned the school into putting this fucking litter box.
One of the funniest parts about stories like this is when people go, man, it's so unbelievable, but it's true. No, it's not. It's unbelievable because it's not true. I hate this so much because not only do I hate it because like it is 100% just like going along with the schools are accommodating the trans people, even though like furries are not trans, right? You know, not always, but like they're broadly categorizing everything weird or odd as trans. And this is just furthering the narrative that like, you know, these level of accommodations are happening and it's changing society and it's really right. That in and of itself is like terrifying and horrible. And it's happening when a sea of like anti-trans legislation is passing through state legislatures, right? But it's also indicative of a darker reality on top of that, which is that people will believe anything now, as long as it's about your perceived enemies, as long as it's about a group of individuals that you have declared to be like the villain of society. You can get away with saying whatever the you want, no matter how unhinged it is. Like, no one wants to exercise a little bit, just a shred of skepticism when something doesn't smell right, because you've broken your brain to a degree where you legitimately are just like, it's probably true because that's how crazy trans people are. Like, no, man, trans students don't want that level of accommodation. They just want to exist, okay? They just want to exist without being bullied. They want to exist without being hate crime. They just want to exist. And that's too much. That's too much for so many people. So they try to like figure out a way where they can make it seem like their accommodations are unrealistic and ridiculous. So furry equals trans is not what I'm saying, no. But to transphobic people, yes. Emma said it's so ironic how there's more information available than ever before, and it's also it's the easiest to trick people than it's ever been. Yeah, exactly. You have the whole internet. You have the whole last entirety of the internet to like arrive at the true information with just a shred of critical thinking, okay? You have the entirety of the internet to arrive at the truth, and you decide to just find the most unhinged bullshit conspiracies. Joe Rogan's wife exposes litter boxes in schools. Joe Rogan's friend's wife. Oh, they found it. A family member posts this video in the family group chat, super old school Christian family, except the video literally took out a part where she says in its case of shootings at schools, then skips to where the teacher says it isn't normal, making it seem like it was for kids who identify as furries at schools. Now I'm seeing the whole thing, which completely changes the context. I'm sending this video to the chat now and calling out that bullshit. If it made its way to my family's group chat, you know damn well it's making the rounds online too. Wait, it's so crazy. How is Joe Rogan's friend's wife, this famous conspiracy theory that everyone is trading in WhatsApp groups and stuff? That's wild. Let's take a look.
And it's showing, unfortunately, a need in our society. Today during professional development, which is usually meant to talk about systems and structures in your school and curriculum, we were given buckets. We were also given first aid kits, toilet paper. We were given kitty litter to put in the buckets. And there is a pop-up tent to pop up around this bucket. These buckets are to use as toilets, because this is a need now for kids that have been on lockdown because of a need to use the bathroom when they're in for 3-4.
Oh my God. It's a school shooting shit bucket. She was talking about school shootings. Bro, America is so fucked. There is a school shooting shit bucket in schools. In their schools have school shooting preparedness first aid kits. And the same people who say school shootings are fake turn around and cut this in a way to make it seem like they're accommodating for furries. This is the most American story I've ever seen. How? I'm losing my fucking mind.
4, 5, 6 hours. We were also given a Sharpie, and that is to write the time. You had to tie a tourniquet on a kid. You'd write the time you did it on their body for paramedics to see how long it's been tied off. This isn't normal.
So they cut all this part out with the school shooting part. They cut all of that out, and they fucking made it so it's just they cut all of that part out, and they made it seem like this is not normal. They cut it from like here, the kitty litter, to this is not normal, to make it seem like she's just talking about furry accommodations.
Paramedics to see how long it's been tied off. This isn't normal. Unfortunately, our society is at a place where it is, and we need to do something about it.
I'm losing my fucking mind. Mind. Okay, here's Ben Collins. My NBC News colleagues and I spent the last month finding the root of America's hottest, dumbest urban legend. Schools are leaving out litter boxes for kids who identify as furries, despite what Joe Rogan says it's not true, but its origins are grimmer than you'd ever imagine. You have probably heard of dozens of variations of the litter boxes in schools lie. You might have heard it from Rogan, talking to Tulsi Gabbard, from his friend's wife who works at a school, or maybe Lauren Boebert, or maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's everywhere. If you didn't hear about the litter boxes in school rumor from a GOP politician, you probably heard about your own town. Facebook is filled with these lies, relocalizing the rumor to your town. There are examples of Facebook posts from almost every state in the country. Just heard high school has a litter box in the transgender bathroom for those students who identify as a cat. Also, you're not allowed to talk in class unless you're called upon, but you can bark like a dog or meow like a cat. The world has gone totally nuts, and teachers not only tolerate this, but encourage this insane behavior. So how did this happen? What's the first real instance of people talking about cat litter in schools? Well, here's where it gets dark. NBC News found one example of a school district keeping cat litter on campus. The Jefferson County School District has had classrooms with cat litter since 2017. In case students are locked in a classroom during a fucking school shooting. Jefferson County is where Columbine is located. Cat litter was handed out in Columbine School District for an active shooter situation 5 years ago. Since then, the litter boxes in schools rumor has evolved into a way to mock the LGBTQ youth. It's now being used as a culture war ammo by over 20 GOP politicians nationwide. What's most provocative about this hoax is how it turns on two key wedge issues for conservatives: educational accommodations and gender nonconformity, said Joan Donovan, research director of the Shorenstein Center for Media Politics and Public Policy at Harvard University and co-author of Meme Wars, the untold story of the online battles upending democracy in America. The data shows how the litter boxes in schools rumors that cannot die is mostly due to the incredulity of adults. According to Grafica's Christina Lopez G, kids on TikTok are creating videos mocking adults who believe it. in it wind up providing fodder for the oblivious Facebook people. Attention school districts, we do not educate felines or canines or any other type of animal. We educate people. Hashtag problem solved. If students are going to identify as something other than human, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They're like, la, 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 I can't hear you. Shut the up. You're still meowing at school. What do you do? What do you do with these people? Sometimes I want to grab one of these people and shake them until their brain is like hitting the back and forth of the skull, until they just like reorient their brain into understanding that they're mentally ill. It's not the perceived mental illness of trans youths that is the problem here, which is completely made up. It's the mental illness of those who behave this way. This is why I always talk about transphobia being like an unironic mental illness, okay? This level of delusion is not normal, and it's like unsolvable at this point. What the fuck? My girlfriend manages during a lecture, and they had Litterbox in the bathrooms for every show for their majority queer community. Everyone thought it was hilarious. They got the joke that it was a ridiculous thing for people to believe about them. It's not ill, it's deliberate omission. No, the illness is the fucking dummies who believe in it. The people who spread this conspiracy theory are doing it with ill intent. The originators of this conspiracy theory are awful. They're villains. They're horrible, barely human, scumbag pieces of shit. But there are a lot of dumbasses who have been so geared towards being transphobic that they will believe anything and everything that paints trans people as ridiculous, as insane. That's the problem. A lot of your parents might not be otherwise incredibly hateful people. Some of your parents are definitely transphobic, right? It's a normal part of existence, unfortunately. It's so normalized. The real villains here are people like the people that spread this. Joe Rogan himself is a villain in this story because he has more responsibility to talk about the truth. He has more responsibility to assess whether or not this is real before going off and repeating this lie. I feel like this coming out about the kitty litter being for school shootings might be an eye-opening moment for people who spread that lie, though. Here, I'll give it to you from the framework of bullshit cancellation and cancel culture shit, okay? Everybody sees the original tweet. Nobody sees the correction. So no, unfortunately, it's not how that works. Everybody already is so geared to shit on queer teenagers that they already want to believe it because so many stories like this have happened. And there's also so much systemic violence directed towards trans youth that they are already ready to believe it. The environment is ripe for this kind of bullshit. So they jump on it immediately and promote it. They never see the correction. Even if you show them the correction, in many instances, they will deny it. Do you remember when conspiracy theorists thought that at the heat of the pandemic, at the apex, that Wayfair was trafficking children? It was a silly rumor. It was so insane to believe because if you just took a deep breath and thought about it for more than 3.5 seconds, you'd realize like that is the worst way to try and traffic children. Is like in broad daylight in public. That's insane. Okay? There would have to be thousands of random people in on the conspiracy, but people still believed in it. I know I said it in a very weird way. Please don't clip that shit out. But people still wanted to believe it. They wanted to believe it. And then they would use missing person reports to justify that, right? They would use missing person reports to say, well, this person was missing. Wayfair is probably trafficking them. And some people came out and said, hey, I'm one of the people that you claim is missing. I was found. I'm not missing. That was many years ago. It was a traumatic experience. And you're forcing me to relive that trauma. And the people, instead of recognizing that they were in the wrong, what did they do? They were so focused on the conspiracy and how it was real. They believed in it at its very core so much that they attacked the people that came out and said, I'm not missing, I was found. They doubled down and started attacking the victim. Do you understand? They harassed the people that came out and said, I'm not missing. This is something that I covered at the time. Why did they do that? What did they say? They said, hey, you're in on it too, aren't you? Or they said, why are you yelling at us? We were worried about your safety. It's like, no, you weren't. You were just worried about believing in the narrative and following the shoestrings. This is how it always works. People want to just double down. It's the same everywhere. You can look at the core of this problem as like narcissism and insecurity. People will say, Hassan doesn't pay his editors. Okay, it's a lie. But then people will pop off and be like, oh, look, Hassan's not paying his editors again. Why is it happening? And when you correct them, when the editor comes out or when the producer comes out and says, what the are you talking about? Like, I'm getting paid incredibly well, you know? Or when my podcast producer Marsh comes out and says, dude, what are you talking about? It's literally a third. Like, this is a cooperatively run business. What's wrong with you? They'll say, oh, well, it says a lot about you that I believed in it. It's like, no, it doesn't. It says a lot about you that you believed in it because you're an idiot. You were motivated to believe in it. See, people still do it. Like, I mean, I think these people are just mostly joking, right? Same thing goes regarding nobody seeing the correction with that story about the trans teacher in Ontario with the huge fake boobs. There's evidence the teacher isn't a trans woman. He was fired last week for toxic masculinity/misogyny. His trans persona and the fake boobs appear to be a prank troll against the school board out of revenge for being fired for misogyny. Sorry, he was fired last year, not last week. Wait, what? No, that's not true. I don't think that's true because the school board actually came out. Link it if that's true. I mean, I think that the teacher was a troll because those titties were ginormous, obviously. I do believe that part of it. That was ridiculous. And says nothing about trans people as a whole, right? Now you're doubling down. No, I don't. There's a difference between me literally trying to find additional information and doubling down, you fucking idiot. If anything, that person corresponds to my biases. So obviously, I would immediately jump on that instead of being skeptical. What you're supposed to do is be skeptical, you fucking dingus. That's the point. What I just did in that moment, when someone said something right there that is functionally on my side of the story, I didn't jump to believing in it immediately. And I looked for further evidence. I didn't deny it outright, but I said, that doesn't seem serious. That doesn't seem real with what I know already about the situation because the school board had released information defending the teacher functionally. So I assumed that that person had not been fired yet. And I said, hey, I want more information. I'll look into it. That is what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do when you are faced with information that either shows you're wrong or even shows you're right. You did say that's not true immediately, though. Yes, because the part of which that I know from the story itself is that that teacher was still working in the school because the school district defended her or him. According to Rebel News themselves, the individual was fired for toxic masculinity, maybe trolling the system as revenge, while they at the same time have provided the most exclusive new footage by someone who happens to be at the right place at the right time. And that's not new information, it's a claim. You don't immediately accept claims. Yeah, if you show me, if I say, hey, please show me the proof, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't mean I'm oh God, I think people are just doing this on purpose. I am assuming right now that there are people in the chat that are literally trolling on purpose. My reaction to that is the normal way to approach it, especially considering that chatter was giving me information that's supposed to be on my side. That's supposed to, beef up my argument. The biased thing for me to do in that circumstance, and this is important for critical thinking. This is important for media literacy. I need you to understand what I just did there. Okay? What I did there was the adequate thing to do. What I did there was the right thing to do. When you see information that feels too good to be true, you don't immediately jump on it and promote it and say, oh, that must be real. That must be true. That must be correct. You say, hey, that doesn't seem true if there's additional information that you are aware of, and then you look for further evidence. That's what you are supposed to do. Okay? I cannot believe I'm going down to like such basics here in a story about how misinformation gets spread, and there's still motherfuckers who don't understand it. You were being hate watched earlier. That's why there's tons of weirdos in the chat. Wait, really? Anyway, let's continue. I mean, I'm always being hate watched. Who gives a f? So, they furthered this narrative. Here's the reality. We reached out to every school rumored to have a litter box. We found one go bucket. We found one in a go bucket for a possible mass shooting. The rumor is a way to marginalize the LGBTQ youth. Here is the story. It was a lot of work. I hope you read it. This is the summarization of the story. It's rare that you get a lie that's both colossally dumb and uniquely dangerous for already vulnerable people. It took a whole team of reporters to get through that nonsense. And God knows I hate to spread this man's nonsense, but it's instructive here. If you see a story on the internet and your reaction is like Joe Rogan's, that's crazy, that's bananas, it makes no sense, then maybe, just maybe, it doesn't make sense because it's not real.
Kids, ready for this?
Yeah, Libs of TikTok posted this again, by the way. So that was awesome. Great. They're basically celebrating their dubs. I cannot understand how such a virulent, hate-ridden propaganda outlet can continue operating in the way that it does on all of our social media platforms. Holy You might not agree with me on much. You might also not even understand why we should be, understanding of the trans experience and defend trans people. But holy shit, this is such a open and shut case that is perfectly representative of how your own personal hatred or your own personal biases will lead you astray, will lead you into believing in incredibly dumb things that are completely false. And I don't think anyone wants to be a dummy, right? Do you want to be a dummy? Do you want to be an idiot? Do you want to believe in the wrong things? Do you want to believe in the dumb things that are objectively untrue just because it makes you feel good because it corresponds to your personal biases? Or do you want to feel a little uncomfortable at first and recognize that this shit is just, it can impact anyone? It's okay, but at least now you know better. Lol, literally what you do on the daily. Yeah, we do have a lot of hate watchers, I think. Please, instead of doing this, just point to something I've said. If I've misinformed anybody without immediately correcting myself, I would love to, you know, settle the matter. Do you understand? Why even give people attention like this? Because I want to try to treat even hate watchers with decency, because when I don't, oh man, what's your stance on the Armenian genocide? Let's unban this guy. He's got a lot going on. Inciting violence, you're a pussy. Hassan's a genius. He buys a house to make up his own hype and content. Dirty politics kills a million people. Uncontrolled gambling does the same, but not all people who talk politics shouldn't be allowed to do the same as gambling. Pussy bitch. Lol, literally what you say on the daily. Keck W. Sure, he's got some good ideas. He's been hate watching since February 2nd, 2019. This guy, I don't think he's going to ever learn, but maybe. That's a dedicated hate watcher, man. You showed a clip missing context 2 days ago and you didn't invest time to check on it. It happens to everyone. Wait, what? What was it? Explain what you're talking about. The debate with a 10-year-old girl being raped? Wait, what? And being denied abortion? What was the clip that was out of context? The Ohio debate? Because the story there is real. And I've covered that story extensively. I want to know what he's talking about. I would love to find out what they're talking about. The fact that it wasn't an illegal immigrant, maybe he's got something good to say. But in most cases, like in 99% of the instances, it's them that watched a clip of me reacting to something out of context, and they think that it's, wait, you banned him again? Why'd you ban him again? Did he say anything? You promote something that kills people. But was I wrong about politics? You promote something that kills people. All politics kills people, my friend. I'm going to unban him again. All right, let's see what he's going to say. Look for the extended clip. What I mean is what he said. Look for the extended clip of what he said. Wait, what? Stop it. You might like this. We don't. Capitalism kills 14 million people a year due to famine, directly due to famine, even though all famine at this stage is man-made famine. It's just a matter of like dealing with the logistics or refusing to deal with the logistics. We can provide a surplus of food to every single person. Anyway, as far as like politics is violence thing, you and that blue-haired liberal bitch Pokey. Oh God, you're gross, dude. Okay, well now you are gonna get banned. Okay, well this is why I like hearing people out though. Oftentimes, my mod team and myself are very quick on the trigger when we see something that's bad, mostly because, well, by the way, Pokey doesn't even have blue hair, but it doesn't matter. Oftentimes we're quick on the trigger because we know this is like how these people operate, right? But that is the reason why so many people will always turn around and say, Hassan, he can't even take any sort of criticism whatsoever. No, that's not the reason why we ban dummies like this. The reason why we ban dummies like this is because this is the real underlying anger and frustration and idiotic sentiment that I don't want to express. I don't want expressed in this chat. That's not like a diverse or unique opinion that you have. You're not special. You're not cool. And you're certainly not smart. And it ends up derailing the content. It ends up derailing the broader overarching conversation that I'm trying to have here. Especially when I talk about touchy subjects, when I talk about serious subjects. That's why we ban people like this immediately. But a lot of people will turn around. And say, look at him. He doesn't want. Yeah, I think it's because FD Bickerstaff or whoever mentioned the girl was being raped by an illegal immigrant, which wasn't true. The person was a U.S. citizen. It wasn't really something that was accepted as valid reasoning. Oh, okay. He didn't even answer you about what he was talking about and just went back to gambling good and women bad. Yeah, that's why we do that. Earlier today, you corrected yourself in a really respectful way when talking about Ketanji Brown Jackson. Oh, wait, I thought Ketanji didn't go to, I thought she went to, I thought undergrad she went somewhere else. Am I wrong? I thought she went to Harvard Law, but undergrad she went somewhere else. What am I thinking of? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh yeah, no, she got her AB and JD at Harvard. I was wrong about that. You don't become a justice with light going to an Ivy. It's just how it works here. Sorry for spreading misinformation. The misinfo around you is so frustrating because when you address it, it enables clip chimpers to go further. Like people will believe anonymous accounts that clap on you rather than investigating the allegations is so lazy. Yeah, everyone is motivated. Everyone is personally motivated by like hating on an celeb that they just have like for some reason or the other deep-seated, deep-rooted hatred for. And because that motivation, when that motivation comes in the form of like an anonymous Nazi account, like literally an account that will is just in it to like promote their own Substack or promote their own podcast, they just jump on it immediately and go, yeah, that's right. I bought the shirt at TwitchCon, so I'm legally required to cosplay twinkified femboy Hasanabi. Shouts out to Trans Catboy once again. Forever a permanent staple in this community as like the example that those people use all the time about how I hate trans people. If you remember, this is Catboy Collector. I guess Femboy Fridays, Catboy Fridays, or beyond derailed. Did you do Mufasa already? Yes, of course. Are you a politician? Every stream is political bullshit? Yes, I am a political commentator. Anyway, going back to this matter at hand, though. Going back to Joseph Robinette Rogan. And more importantly, this story. I want to wrap this up. With, with a quick shout out, like I said, to all the pieces of shit out there who are spreading this kind of misinformation. You're doing a great job, man. Good job. Horrible monsters, dude. Horrible monsters. The first half of my department meeting was ladies freaking out about the cat litter. Should I say something? Yes, absolutely should. Yes, correct misinformation when you see it. Don't push back from that. Definitely correct misinformation, because these guys are spreading misinformation, and it's dangerous misinformation. Joe Rogan tells Tulsi Gabbard about a teacher he knows who said her school was forced to install a litter box for students who identify as a cat. Claims about litter boxes in New York school is unfounded. Hold on, I want to retweet this and I want to quote retweet it and say something. Buckets, kitty litter were for school. Joe Rogan spread an insane lie about LGBT youth accommodations in schools getting litter boxes to use, when the reality was that these buckets full of kitty litter were for school shooting lockdowns. Kitty litter for blood is so sad to think about. Yeah, I just don't know. Kitty litter for school shootings for what? The kitty litter is for the box and the bucket that you may have to use when you're shut down. There's only one school that even has it to begin with, and one teacher that has talked about it. For blood, piss, and oil spills. It's just so insane, dude. It's sad when we move from tornado drills to what to do if there's a shooter. Yeah. We're going to spread an insane lie about LGBTQ youth accommodations in schools getting litter boxes used, when the reality was that these buckets full of kitty litter were for school shooting lockdowns. It's the perfect story that shows dangerous, biased misinfo spreading. From the next school, what? It's just so infuriating. Did he say it wasn't LGBT youth? No, the point is, when they talk about furries, they just mean like all LGBTQ youth, okay? That's what they're talking about. We had to talk about this story. We had to talk about our story in my poli-sci lectures this week, and most of the people in the class believed it. That's fucking bananas, dude. That is bananas. It really goes to show how quickly people will believe bullshit. Like, there is no moment. You can't even have a moment of like solace. You can't even have a moment of like, a victory lap or anything like that to be like, yo, or you can't even correct the information. People will move on to the next fake thing. Like, people have already done that. People are now jumping on this to claim that, like, well, no one said LGBTQ youth. They said furries. Like, come on, brother. We know this is a long sequence. We know that it is lapped up under the same umbrella of, like, LGBTQ youth accommodations. Shut the up. Yeah, just because furries don't necessarily imply that you're LGBTQ youth or whatever the doesn't change the reality that is what it's being weaponized as to all the dummies out there. It is the misinformation hydra. It's so crazy. And it got me clapped up from from Instagram too. They immediately mass reported my Instagram story, and now I can't post Instagram videos on my Instagram stories because I posted the article and I was like, Americans are so stupid. I can't believe they believe this. And they clapped it for hate speech. Have you taken a COVID test yet? YouTube just posted XQ gave you COVID. Wait, what? No, he didn't. Saw some random guy go on a 9-minute rant about you just to say he didn't watch you at all. People are dumb. Yeah, I mean, I know XQC got COVID, but but he did not give me COVID as far as I know. Aiden made you. Thanks. Those bots that have my follower notifications on are so crazy. An interesting thing that never really gets discussed when people are talking about just who influences Rogan is introducing him to these far-right propaganda meme narratives is his wife. I've heard she's originally from Texas and is a pretty big conservative herself. I would not be surprised if she was responsible for a bit of Joe Rogan's turn towards being a conservative meme repeater now. Yeah, probably.